Hi there, distinguished researchers. Before I introduce myself, I would like to acknowledge that I'm standing here today on the stolen land on what always was and always will be the land of the Kulin Nations. I pay my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging, as well as to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in the wider community and beyond. Indigenous sovereignty has never been ceded in so-called Australia, and I try to be mindful of this in everything I do. My name is Fia Hamid-Walker. I'm a Javanese-Indonesian living in Australia. I am one of the signatories of the open letter Tante Francisca Pati Pilohi and Bung Jeffrey Fondak initiated. The truth is, I'm not a historian. I'm a political campaigner and an international development practitioner. I learned the history of Dutch colonialism at schools when I was spending my formative years growing up in Surabaya. I was taught to remember the years, events, and people for the sake of passing examinations, and not to critically comprehend the historical conditions given. Was the historical lessons in those classrooms are made for the benefits of the Dutch government or the Indonesian government? I do not know, and I will never know. We need more research on the politics of history education in schools. Am I right? And that's why your research into the independence, decolonization, violence, and war in Indonesia 1945 to 1950 has attracted my attention. But if I'm not a historian, why bother? I'll give you an eye perspective. Here's what most people forget about how it feels to be a post-colonial subject like myself. I did not experience how it was being under the Dutch colonialism, nor was I part of the independence struggles in 1945 to 1949. But I do experience what it meant to be constantly expected to follow the footprints of colonialism, from how should I look to how should I value my success. And as an international development practitioner, those colonial values are pretty much well and alive. So that's the nexus between myself and this research. I cannot recall really how I found out about your research. It was most likely from the social media. I have been living in Australia and I have supported the Indigenous struggles for sovereignty. And so when I heard about this research, I jumped out with excitement just because it is called decolonization. And I think it was about the time. But I guess I was wrong. I couldn't find anything substantial in your website in regard to this project, how the research is going to be conducted, used, and for what purpose, who are involved in this research project. It has been very difficult for me to conclude the impartiality of this research if everyone involved have been talking past each other and you do not actually address the concerns most people are having. You claim that this research is going to be critical, but you have in fact excluded critical voices such as those of Tante Francisca and Bung Jeffrey from participating and contributing in the decision-making process related to this project. Why? Inviting Bung Jeffrey to speak for 10 minutes in one single event for the purpose of disseminating this research is not considered participation or contributions. It is tokenizations, one of colonial characteristics. Instead, you engage the local Indonesian researchers who, according to Franz Fanon, they are the actual brown faces with white masks. They will do whatever to make their masters happy. As historians, I'm pretty sure you have heard the tactic of divided emperor. I adored this term when I first encountered it in a secondary school. It sounds very sexy and deadly. The only time I have used this tactic was when I hated someone and wished them all the bad things in the world will happen to them. I guess I have been internalizing a colonial mindset subconsciously. But don't you use the same tactic for this research too? What do you think? And thank you for your time to listen to my video question.